Yeah, should be good. I gotta take this.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, sweetie.
I just beat the dungeon.
Nice.
So where do I go next?
You remember the village where you started?
Maid Village?
Yeah, go back there.
Thanks, Dad.
How about another game when I get home?
Oh, yeah. Welcome home. Come on, let's play.
How was school? Okay, I got it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to another Sigma session courtesy of YouTube. First and foremost, just like to give a shout out to my subscribers. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for tuning in. Truly appreciate the love and support. Just want to give you guys a heads up. I am preparing to take one of my planned international trips coming up this month. So I'll probably be on a hiatus for a moment, or for a bit, excuse me. But definitely once I come back and able to get my recordings down, I definitely want to share with a lot of you guys some of the trip, things that I'm going to be going, places I'm going to be seeing and doing. So yeah, you guys will definitely be in for a little treat. But anywho, let's get to the main topic of this particular video. So let me just start out by saying congratulations to the 2020 Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl champs. That was definitely one heck of a game. I kind of knew that Kansas City would find some way to win it, but the way they came back and won the game, definitely you got to give props to not only Patrick Mahomes, but to Andy Reid, the offense, and even the defense. Despite them being in the hole for a bit, they actually made some key plays too. So overall, to that entire team, want to give a shout out to them. But in this particular video, definitely I want to give a shout out to Mr. Patrick Mahomes himself. Why is that? Well, in my opinion, he is one of the poster childs of SYSBM. When it comes down to who will take on the legacy of black men, especially when it comes down to families, I think it's good to show the children of SYSBM that the whole world is taking notice. And in particular with Patrick Mahomes, let's just be honest. This man is redefining the quarterback position in the NFL. Within a span of 3 years, he's already broken numerous passing records, touchdown records. In his second year in the NFL, he was named league MVP. And then in his third season, which was this previous season, he wins the Super Bowl. So definitely we're starting to see some potential for Patrick Mahomes. Now, who knows? He may be a one and done. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. In fact, I will probably go on record saying that probably won't be the last Super Bowl he wins. In any case, for sure, the performances that he's been putting on definitely is going to warrant him a seat in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he's not the only one that showed out. Even on the 49ers side, the San Francisco 49ers, they have a defensive lineman by the name of DeForest Buckner. What's interesting about him is his father is African American and his mother is Polynesian. And when I look at that combination, I thought to myself, who else have that combination of a black father and a Polynesian mother? Oh yeah, that's right. None other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And we don't need to really talk much about him. I mean, his story and the notoriety that he's built up and even his legacy speaks more for itself. But the thing I definitely want to highlight with these guys is they talk very highly about their fathers. Patrick Mahomes, DeForest Buckner, Dwayne Johnson. They are more than happy to talk about the importance their fathers played in their lives. And it doesn't just stop with them. You even have the likes of Naomi Osaka, who last year, I believe it was last year or the year before, she beat out Serena Williams in the women's tennis match. And even she talks very highly about her father. And then another person that I would give a shout out to, but unfortunately she passed away along with her father, Gigi Bryant. She was also an up and coming athlete, and her father was definitely making sure he spent time in developing her and getting her on the path of basketball. It's unfortunate that we'll never know what legacy she would have left behind, but the glimpse and potentials that we saw definitely let us know that she was bound for greatness. But with that being said, you also should have noticed, well, I tried to find the clip of this particular commercial that I saw on the Super Bowl. And I was surprised that this clip was aired on national television. And you should have seen it at the beginning of this video. But if not, the link to that video is definitely in the description box. But in this video, in this clip, you see a father spending time with his daughter, playing Nintendo Switch. Now, for anybody who is not hiding behind a rock, or sleeping under a rock for that matter, you can obviously tell that his daughter is biracial, or at the very least, multiracial. That in and of itself shows that even the world is starting to embrace SYSBM. Maybe not on a grand scale, maybe not openly, but you're starting to see a few snippets of commercials with black fathers being heavily involved in the lives of their mixed children. That in and of itself is showing how much of an impact that the legacy of SYSBM is starting to show. Now, one thing I want to make sure I point out is the lifestyle of SYSBM have been going on for millennium. It's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. SYSBM is not new. But in this technological age, SYSBM is starting to have a much wider reach on a lot of black men, especially younger black men. And they're starting to see that, you know what, you too can leave a legacy, not only for yourself, but even for your children, if you choose to go down that path. And so seeing that commercial, it kind of brought a small smile to my face, because it's a clear sign that the world is taking notice of SYSBM. Now, of course, you have some folks, non-black folks for that matter, who will be detractors, who will do all they can to shame and gaslight and make it seem like black men are not wanted outside of black America. But that is far from the truth. Very far. And seeing this commercial on a national televised network clearly shows that black men are definitely being embraced. Black men who are competent, black men who are building for a legacy beyond their time and beyond themselves. It's truly something very magnificent to see. And so, one thing I want to talk about, and shout out to Xanatos Clutch, Because he was the one who talks about the three fates of Black America. And I will link his channel in the description box so you could definitely go and view that video for yourself. But in that particular video, Xanatos talks about how Black America is slowly starting to be divided into three separate but prominent groups. And where you align yourself in this group is going to make a huge impact not only on yourself, but for the people around you, and especially the people who are of your bloodline. So the first fate that he talks about is the fate of blacks who mingle with blacks from the diaspora. So you'll have blacks who will mingle with blacks from Brazil, blacks from Costa Rica, blacks from Cuba, blacks from the United Kingdom. The list goes on and on and on. And the children of those offsprings are definitely going to be children who will come from a different cultural aspect. They will come from a culture where it's definitely different from the Xanatos culture. Now, for some, that may be a good thing because, hey, you still keep it at 100 and you're keeping it black. No harm done. But there will be some detractors who will make it seem like because you went and got something from outside of Black America, they don't qualify as black culture. And to each their own, but that's definitely going to be a culture and a segment that's going to start seeing some fruits produce. The children will definitely be ones where they have an Xanatos lineage, but they were raised in a culture that is far beyond Xanatos. Then the second group is where SYSBM, and you can even say swirlers, fall into the game. And that's where you're going to have blacks intermingle with non-black folks. And the children of these particular unions, they're going to be the children of not only multicultural backgrounds, but multiracial backgrounds. Way I look at this particular group, SYSB in particular, you're definitely going to see a new kind of blacks, not only in America, but also in Western societies and the world at large. These will be a group of blacks where they may not per se, how should I best put this? They may not see themselves as full black, but they will definitely inherit the blackness, most likely from their fathers, if their father is black. And they will definitely embrace that aspect and take it to new heights. And you're already seeing those type of blacks not only in the mainstream media, but even in everyday life. You know, I have relatives, cousins for that matter, who are half black. Their father is black and their mother is non-black. And these particular children, yes, they embrace the fact that they are of black heritage, but their culture and how they were raised, especially when it comes down to a quality star game, they're able to be a more hybrid type of blacks. And they're ones where they're starting to really take a hold in Western society. Western society is definitely starting to embrace their type of ways of life, and vice versa. So you're definitely going to see these particular groups of men and women who on the outside, you could definitely tell they have some sort of black lineage. But they don't embrace the full cultural standings of black America. And definitely the world is taking notice, and the world is reacting accordingly. And then last but not least, the final group in the three fates is Black America itself. This is where you're going to find the majority of ADOS blacks mingling with each other. And so, for some people, they feel that this is the end all be all. This is where your true blackness is tested. We'll save that for a free speech Avenger. But in any case, this is where you'll definitely find the more American blacks amongst the group. Now, what are their fates moving forward? It's definitely a little bit on the negative side. Actually, scratch that. It's definitely mostly on the negative side. But there are some, gotta be fair and balanced, there are some positive aspects of American blacks that will definitely continue on into the future. Now, the thing is, hopefully the ADOS blacks understand to highlight their positives and get rid of their negatives. And if they're able to accomplish that, believe me, they will be able to really leave a foundational legacy that they already have going on here in America. They already have the advantage of they are designed for the American life, so to speak. But again, it depends on how they go about it. Now, I have my opinions. I'm not going to really say those opinions here. I'll save those for my main channel on Free Speech Avenger. But ADOS blacks have a way of, they can get themselves into a better standing if they go about it the right way. So, those are the three fates of Black America. And those three fates, we are slowly but surely starting to see them come to fruition. Speaking for myself, Sigma Jones, out here on the West Coast, you definitely are starting to see children who have that black lineage and black ethnic genetics, but they're not fully blacks. They're biracial or multiracial. And how they were raised also shows that they are at a more advantage than a regular black person or a full-blooded black person. And then even when you look at blacks who come from a multicultural home, where say one parent is ADOS and the other parent is not ADOS, even they have an advantage. The children that I see from that union, they are children who may embrace that American Negro positives and all, but because they come from a different culture where one of the parents is non-ADOS, they also embrace that aspect, and it helps to make them a little bit more well-rounded. And so, by looking at those two particular groups, that just shows me that the generations coming up, there will definitely be two sets of blacks who will definitely be playing major roles in the world at large, whether it's social engineering, political engineering, educational engineering, community engineering, those kind of aspects in life, these particular blacks are going to pay a huge dividends in where they go into the future. And this is where, as you, as a fellow black man and a potential practitioner of SYSBM, this is where you have to decide, where is your seed going to be within these three fates? Now, don't get me wrong. You may be a brother that's saying to yourself, look, I don't want any kids. I'm not interested in kids. I'm okay with just having a partner, and that's that. And to be honest, that's perfectly fine. Not every man out there is built to be a father. That's a good thing, because you don't want males who are not ready to be fathers be put in a situation where they have to be fathers. That's just never a win-win situation, both for him and the child. But if you are a man who wants to have a children, especially if you're concerned with leaving a legacy for those children, this is where stuff like this comes into play. And this is where you got to think very critically on who is going to become the mother of your seed. This is why with SYSBM, we preach quality stargates. You see, when MBD says who you mate is politics, he's just barely scratching the surface. Literally, who you procreate with, who you allow to be the mother of your children, you're pretty much going to give them either a head start in life, or they may be struggling just to get out of their situations. And unfortunately, there will be some who just don't make it. And to be honest, if you're one who wants to become a father, would you be comfortable and at peace if your child is in a struggling situation where they can't get out of, and you knew going into this that probably you should have maybe done your homework a little bit better before you brought those children into the world? There's guys who's been there. But even in that particular situation, you have to think to yourself, okay, I may not have wanted my child to be in this situation, but I can do what I can to get them into a better situation than what I was in. And for a lot of brothers who are doing SYSBM, and believe me, we have a lot of guys who are not even fathers yet, but they are preparing to be fathers, let alone husbands. They have done their research, and they have particularly paid attention to who is going to be the mother of their children, who is going to be their first teacher. Because understand this, as the father, you create that legacy. In fact, let me reword it this way. As the father, you create that culture. Your Stargate will teach that culture to the children. And then the children will carry on that culture. That is the importance of it. And that is why when you look at a lot of these biracial children, multiracial children, that are making segues at society at large and the whole world at large, you starting to understand that their mothers and definitely their fathers played a significant role in how they are able to make so much leaps and bounds in whatever aspect or situation or position that they were in. And so this is why with SYSBM, you have to decide for yourself, is this something you really want to partake in? Believe it or not, there are those who are in SYSBM who are not interested in children. And even that is perfect. Even that is fine. But for those who want to go down that path, this is where you have to look at every detail and make sure that you take on a quality Stargate that is about your culture. Because you as the man, you start the culture. You create that culture. And she will be the one who will pass on your teachings, pass on your standards to the children. And then those children will take your culture and elevate it. And that's the beauty of leaving a legacy behind for your children, because they will take it and in some cases make it 10 times fold. So fellas, that's pretty much this particular video. I will definitely give the raw version over on Free Speech Avenger. Definitely I felt like this particular Super Bowl was a coming out party for a lot of SYSBM poster childs, even though only one came out as the Super Bowl champ. But on both teams, there were highlights of individuals who clearly showed that their fathers played a major role in their development. And their fathers chose quality Stargates to help put them on that pathway to greatness. So fellas, in the words of Nagone 11, get your mind right, get your body right, get your money right. Because when it's all said and done, the only person you can save is yourself. Until next time, I'm Sigma Jones. Thanks for tuning in.